Frontline with Kortney Kenny, and I'm Tom Parisi, and today we got a great set of guests. It's another episode of your favorite podcast about the North Bay Battalion. It's your Frontline podcast. Hey, I'm Tom Parisi. He's Kortney Kenny. Today we are proud to be joined by Nick Sima, Anthony Romani have joined us again, I believe, for the second tour of duty here on the Frontline. So, fellas, welcome back. And right off the hop, I got to ask you, what's clicked? Like, what's changed? All of a sudden, you guys got red hot as a team and individually. Nick, we'll start with you. Tell me what changed over the course of the season to make it seem so much easier.
Looking at the season stuff, just playing in the league longer as the year goes on and just gaining experience throughout each game. And I think for me, time has really helped me, especially coming back since the Christmas break. I just felt more confident and comfortable out there. And I think the team's been gelling really well lately, this past month or so, and it's been great. So, yeah.
Mr. Romani?
Yeah, I think for me, it was just a really good learning experience over the year, and just being able to gain confidence has just really helped my game. And just overall as a team, I think we've gelled really good lately, and we've just been clicking.
For both of you gentlemen, I'll start with Anthony and then Nick, if you want to hop on after this. For both of you guys, might have taken a little bit longer than you had hoped to get your first goal, but you both scored some really nice ones for your first one. What was the immediate feeling on the ice when you saw the puck hit the back of the net?
Yeah, I think just scoring my first goal, I was pretty amazed, just that it went in. I kind of blacked out for a few seconds, didn't really know what happened, but it was just a great feeling and just really good to get the monkey off the back.
Yeah, it was just relief. When I scored it, like Ant said, kind of blacked out for a bit, but just relief, obviously, the weight off your shoulders to get the first one. And yeah.
You guys have played up and down in the lineup. Have you found a spot where you're comfortable, or, hey, what else do you have to show us?
I think, you got to play your best wherever you are in the lineup. Doesn't matter where you are. You just got to play your game every night, and I guess chances will come, and you have to be comfortable in all situations. So,
yeah, I think just up and down the lineup with all the injuries, it's been really good to play with different guys, and it's just been able to create chemistry with them and just see how different players play. And I think it's just been overall good for my game, and it's a good learning experience.
Well, I mean, you can gush all you want, but who's been the easiest to play with? It's okay to throw guys on the bus. This is what we do here.
Honestly, we have a lot of good guys on our team, but probably the guys on the I don't really have any guy, honestly. All of them love playing with each other. So
yeah, same with me. I don't think I can choose one. There's a bunch of guys I love playing with, and yeah, can't really choose one.
That's okay. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Just back to your first goals for a second. When I would talk to head coach Ryan Houlihan post game about that, he would always lament that his wasn't a highlight reel goal. His first goal, it was always, I tipped it in, and these guys, Romani's deking around the guy, and Nick, you're sniping 5-hole on the other guy, and his was just a tip in. So do you guys get to at least turn the screws on him a little bit, saying, look how nice our goals were, type of thing?
Well, yeah, I kind of said that to both of us actually after we scored in the room after, but we had a good laugh about it. But I mean, first is a first, doesn't matter how it goes in. So it's pretty funny. Had a good laugh.
Yeah, it was just kind of funny that he said that, but I don't think we can. We didn't really chirp him that much, but I think it was just good to get that goal, and a goal's a goal, as Nick said.
I'm wondering something, fellas. Who has the biggest stones in the room to chirp the coach? That takes a lot of you got to be pretty brave to chirp the coach. Am I right?
Yeah.
So who's the most likely person to do it?
I feel
that's a good question, actually. I mean, I don't know. We like to chirp in the room, but it's not obviously serious or not. But I mean, a lot of the guys, we're all really comfortable with each other, and we all have really good relationships with each other. So I wouldn't say there's one guy that would like go out and like chirp the coach, but we're all really good with each other. So I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I don't think there'd be any particular one guy who would chirp the coach. I think we all kind of chirp each other, but when it comes to the coaches, we kind of have respect for them and don't really chirp them that much.
Very wise answer.
In that vein, then you come in for practice and you say hi to the guys. Who's the first guy to reply with a chirp rather than saying hi back?
Anthony, you go.
It's kind of hard questions, trying to throw one of our teammates in it.
Oh, it's okay. People throw each other under the bus on this thing all the time. Dom gets thrown under the bus. It seems like every time we do a podcast. Poor kid.
I'd say maybe like Ladder might throw in a chirp when I walk in. Just like depends. It depends on the day, to be honest. But I'd say Ladder.
He's the new guy.
Yeah, I don't know. That's actually a good question, but probably Lads too. Actually, he's a funny guy in the room. Everyone loves him.
So it's safe to say you guys enjoy having Kyle McDonald and Grayson Ladd joining the team. I bet was it seamless letting them in?
Yeah, for me, for sure. They're two really nice guys. Great guys in the room, obviously great players too. And they fit in really well with the team and they've been doing really well too. So it's great to have them in their lineup.
Yeah, I think it's great to have them. Just also hearing different experiences from them, being like in Windsor on the west side, and just different stories that they have, and about talking about different players. It's been great just learning off, especially Grayson Ladd, who's been in the league for 5 years and is very knowledgeable.
Yeah, it's kind of wild, especially for you guys. This is your first foray into the league and you're not even seeing half the teams. Like, it's just a weird, to me, the West doesn't even exist this year. It's just, they're there,
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. I saw the other day, it's like Luke Evangelista from the Knights has like 43 goals in 45 games. I'm like, really? I haven't heard anything about him. Like, it's just wild.
What happens when you're playing Saginaw every game or not? So
fair enough.
Just like London's in a whole different league or something, or like Team Windsor. Me and Sima were actually talking about it today. It was just like just looking at the other games. Sometimes it's like I didn't even know those teams were in our league. Like, it's just weird seeing those teams on like OHL.
Like, do you pay attention at all to the West? Like, does it even matter?
I mean, yeah, we do, but it's always nice. You take a glance over at the standings or you look at some of the highlights. But I mean, you obviously still pay attention to them, but you still feel that, I don't know, you don't really have a connection to them. You don't play them or anything. It's kind of like a whole different league in itself. So,
well, I would imagine next year you guys are probably going to be heading down to London and Windsor and all that stuff. So you'll get that experience for sure. The last time we talked to you guys were fresh off the priority selection. So now that you kind of got a few months under your belt in the OHL, what's the experience been like for you guys? Since the game 1 to last week, what's the experience been like for you two?
For me, it's been amazing. I think the biggest thing
Couldn't be that. There it is.
I think the biggest thing for me is like playing against guys that are signed to the NHL and guys you hear about all the time every night, and playing with them as well, like Cozy and Pets and those type of guys. It's great seeing them in practice. It's great for obviously your development, and playing against guys like that every night. It's been great. And obviously the fans in North Bay, like I love playing at home. The fans are amazing. Yeah, I can't say anything bad about them. So it's been great for me.
Yeah, I think the OHL experience has been great so far. Just coming in and adjusting so easy, just with the team being so welcoming and the guys in the room. And just like Sima said, just playing at home in front of all the fans is just amazing, since like I've never been able to play against a crowd that big and just how loud they are. And just even going on road trips with the guys has just been amazing.
Speaking of which, hooray, fans are actually back in the building. Guys, how's it been different on the ice? Is it still a little bit harder to hear each other, or does anything change now?
Well, yeah. I think obviously the noise level, it's a lot louder in there. You feel the energy from the fans, obviously. Um, I think it was the last game at home actually, having all the fans there. You really felt the arena and you really felt the energy, and obviously gives our team a boost. With the fans not there, obviously you can't really get a boost when you need it if you don't hear a "Go Troops Go" chant or stuff like those get us going. So I mean, it's obviously a lot different and so much better when the fans are there.
Yeah, I think the fans are really work to our advantage, but like it was just when we had no fans and just even going to like 500 fans, just the atmosphere in the rink was way better, and it just seeing people there watching us and cheering us on was just really helped our game, I think.
So you mean in a quiet game, the DJ wouldn't even play a "Go Troops Go" recording? Honestly.
No, it was just songs.
Yeah.
Just songs.
We have to
Kinda-
have a chat with them. That's
Yeah.
all that has to happen.
Well, hopefully we don't have to go through.
Yeah,
that.
I'm just saying though, if it gets quiet, they can just turn that on.
Yeah, it was a little wild being up in the media booth and just being like, there's absolutely no reaction to anything up here. Like, which also kind of brings me to my question that I wanted to ask you, Nick. I think your first goal came when there was no fans. So I know you say you black out and you're celebrating, and I mean, watching you on the ice when it happened, you were still celebrating very hard. But does it kind of take away a little bit that there's no like crowd reaction when you score that first one?
Well, yeah, I kind of thought about that earlier. I was like thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, maybe it would have been better with fans there. But I mean, like in the moment, you don't really care to whether like you scored and anyone was in the rink or not. You still got that goal. But I mean, to hear the fans there would have been better for me, but it doesn't really matter.
A goal is a goal, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
It's like scoring a road goal.
Yeah, true.
it was wild though, because whenever you guys would score, like the horn would still come on and the song would still come on, but there'd be like no cheering. It was just like, here it is. You know?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Kortney up in the booth, just dancing away, chanting.
Well, it got to the point where I'm up there, and I will unashamedly admit that I was wearing my Battalion jersey like the last game without fans. I'm standing up in the media booth just wearing my Battalion jersey, and I think it was against Ottawa, and you guys were on a bit of a skid at that point. So I was like, every call, I was like, "Come on!" and I'm like yelling at the refs from the booth. But it was kind of weird still being the only guy doing that. So being in the league for a little bit now, you guys have obviously become very familiar with a lot of the Eastern Conference opponents. Who's been, North Bay fans, they look at Sudbury and Barrie as the big rivals. For you guys out there on the ice, what's been the toughest team to play against, where that you feel the rivalry the most?
I mean, obviously Sudbury is always a team, just because North Bay and Suds, they have a big rivalry. But I think for me, actually, I think our two Sioux games, I really felt the energy there. Two really good teams that play similar. And I think that those two games were big rivalry games, and they're really tough playing against those guys. Obviously, lately Hamilton, they're a great team too, really tough playing against them, and Kingston as well. So those teams have been really tough to play against. But obviously, when you're in this league, every team is tough, and there's no night off. So.
Yeah, I think that Sudbury is definitely our biggest rivals, especially on the ice, just the chirping that goes on in that game. But I think since probably Kingston is another one. We've had their number pretty much all year, but I still think that they're just a great team to play against, and they're a good team, and it's always fast-paced games, and it's going to be a close game going into those games.
Like, how cool does it feel to shut down a team with the person who's probably going to go number one in the draft, and then other guys who have been drafted and they're supposed to be a good team, and you guys just said, I got this. Hold on. 4 times.
Yeah, it's a great feeling, obviously, but I mean, that's our goal at the end of the night, and we kind of don't expect anything less, right? But so we came in there all business, and we took care of it.
Yeah, I think just going to those games, you see Shane Wright and you think he's first overall, but at the end of the day, he's just another player on the ice, and we just kind of zone that out, and we know that we can beat any team we want when we're clicking.
I asked this question once a few years ago. My first year coming in with CCAT was Adam McMaster's first year. So who was then traded for Mitch Russell. So that tells you how long ago it was. But I asked him a question. What was your welcome to the OHL moment? He said his first shift, he got blown up going down the wing, basically by a bigger guy from Niagara. For you guys, was there a welcome to the OHL moment for you? Not necessarily a hit, but like a moment where you're like, okay, this is something different.
Yeah, actually similar to that. My first exhibition game, I remember we took a draw in the D zone, and I was a weak sided winger. And I was so nervous, like my heart was pounding and everything. And the puck actually got rimmed to my side, and I got hit pretty hard. But the thing was, my helmet came up and went over the back of my head, so I had to get off. So my first technical OHL shift was like 5 seconds, and I was like, I really like. After that, I thought to myself, I was like, wow, like this is the OHL. So that would be my welcome to the OHL moment for sure.
Yeah, I think mine's pretty similar too. I think it might have been exhibition game 2 or 3. We played Ottawa. And I just remember I was playing wing and I got one on the half wall, and then I look up and I see one of the D coming right at me, and I just got nailed. And I just got up, and I think he got a headshot penalty, but that was my welcome to the OHL moment for sure.
Seems like that's like the way to go is hit the rookies. Like, what the hell's going on? Honestly.
There was a game too, speaking of, against Sudbury, where I think Robertson or someone came after you pretty good, Nick. Like, is there a moment where you're like, okay, I'm a rookie, or is it just no, I'm fair? Like, you're out there, it's fair game for you guys.
Oh yeah, I was actually thinking about that one too. That welcome, but yeah, that was obviously like you gotta know, you gotta pick your battles. Obviously, right? You can't really, obviously when you're playing, you don't really think of that. But if there are pucks in a corner, you're obviously gonna. It doesn't matter who's on the other end of it. You got to go get it, and you got to try to win the battle. But obviously, when it gets into fights and stuff like that, you obviously can't go out and take the biggest guy. And firsthand experience, I felt that obviously, but I mean, as for playing the game and stuff, you can't really focus on who's playing against you. More just got to go out there and play your game. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much just like a fair game once you get on the ice. Age doesn't really matter. Like the league's meant for 16-year-olds to play against 20-year-olds, so we can't really treat any player different. Just gotta treat them the same, battle hard, and yeah, I guess like Nick said, you're not gonna try to and go after it and fight the biggest guy, but you can't really back down to that either.
Have you guys ever been asked to fight in a game?
No.
No, I haven't either.
No.
Would you say yes?
Depends on the guy.
Yeah, the same, depends on the guy.
That's funny. That's good. So if it's like someone like, say you're on the opposite team and a big guy like Lucan comes at you and says, do you want to fight? Are you saying no?
Yeah. No, obviously, like I said, depending on the situation as well. Like if he blowing up one of our guys like earlier on in the game and it was kind of a dirty hit, obviously you got to stick up for your teammates, right? So I'd do it if it was the right situation, but just for fighting, no, probably not.
When you're on the ice though, fellas, is there anybody on your team you're like, oh good, he's on the ice with me?
Our captain.
Yeah.
Probably Arnsby and Lucan.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But I haven't really talked to Lucan much, obviously, because those guys keep to themselves pretty well. They're a little bit nervous, which is understandable. But it's funny to me because Arnsby's like the nicest guy off the ice, but when he's on there, he's like no one's his friend. Like if you're wearing opposite colors, he's coming for blood. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he does that mentality where it doesn't matter who you are, like he's just out there to win and he'll do whatever he wants. Even in practice, you see it sometimes. He's just so competitive and just wants to win every battle. And I think that just really translates into his game.
Now he's supposed to go ahead, Kortney.
No, I was just gonna say I remember like in training camp, he went after like Govro and it's like, oh my god, it's training camp, man. Like
I remember that too.
It was wild.
He's supposed to come back too. I was reading the article earlier today. Hopefully Arnsby gets into the next game against Sudbury. But I mean, how big is that? Not just for you guys, but for the whole team to have him back on the ice.
Obviously, it's a huge means like great for us. Obviously, coming back, one of our top players, our captain. heart and soul of our team. He's an amazing guy to be with on the ice, and I'm really excited to have him back.
Yeah, I mean, he's our captain. He leads us on and off the ice, and he just brings that physical presence and just skilled too, and just all around. He just helps our lineup have way more depth, and it's just amazing to see our lineup back to full health.
When you mentioned it a little bit earlier when talking about your welcome to the OHL moment, but going out there for the exhibition games and being nervous, does that kind of help take away the nerves from the actual opening night game, or are the nerves like ratcheted up to 11 for that game?
Actually, I found it helped a lot. Actually, after my first, I think we played Owen Sound our first exhibition game. I don't know who we played second. I think it was Ottawa. But I think even once you get that first game out of the way, you kind of settle down. And for me, opening night, I was way more excited than nervous, just because I'd obviously had the 4 games under my belt. Even though their exhibition still held me a lot. And, opening night was a great night. So.
Yeah, I think the exhibition games really did help. Like even by the 3rd or 4th exhibition game, I felt way more comfortable than I did in the first. But I think for opening, I wasn't there for opening night because I hurt my wrist, so I missed the first 3 games. So coming into my home home opener, it was kind of just like I was still a bit nervous because I had a few weeks off, and just coming into the league when everyone else has a few games under their belt.
With you guys, because you guys have obviously been affected as players by the wonderful pandemic and everything going into your OHL draft year, when things started to ramp up again at the end of December, early January, was it a kind of a feeling of, oh no, here we go again, or was it, we're going to get through this and thankfully the OHL continued to play?
Yeah, really thankful that we can continue to play, obviously, as now things are getting a lot better. But yeah, it was pretty tough. I'd say about a month with all the cases, situations we had and stuff. It was obviously tough to deal with, and players in and out of our lineup, and it was obviously hard to play those games without all of our guys. But I think we handled it great. Our coaches and athletic trainers and everyone did a great job at helping us be prepared no matter how our lineup looked like. And I think we did a great job at that. So obviously it was stressful, but we got over it, and now we're getting back to normal. So it's great.
Yeah, I think for those couple of weeks, we were a little concerned that the season might get postponed or something, but I think our team handled it really well. We were able to recover really fast, and the coaches and just our staff was able to put in good mandates, like wearing masks around the rink and having dividers up just so that it wouldn't spread that fast. I think we were one of the better teams when handling COVID, and we were just really able to adjust to the lineups with people out. And yeah, I think we handled it well.
So you guys mentioned, excuse me, you guys mentioned Sudbury is the big rivalry. When you go into that rink for the first time, when you see that wolf hanging up on the wire and all that awesome stuff, what's your initial impressions, of being like, wow, I can't believe this is an OHL rink?
Yeah, like what you said, the first time I saw the wolf, I didn't really know what to say. I was just kind of just looked at it. I was like, oh my,
Oh, this exists.
Yeah, I didn't really have any words for it. It was just kind of it was just, I don't have any words. I didn't know what to say.
Yeah, I think for me, the first time just seeing that wolf go down that zip line there, I was kind of just I never want to see this again. I never want to let them score again. So, but I actually don't mind playing in their rink, just because I like the atmosphere that they have, just the rivalry. So it's not too bad for me, but I don't like seeing that wolf, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't mind. Their ice is pretty good, but the rink is not for me.
You guys are the first guests that we've had on here where you're like, that's not a bad rink. Everyone else is they picked that or Peterborough as their 2 least favorite places to play.
Oh, I still think it's my least favorite place to play.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go.
I don't mind their ice. Their ice is pretty good, but the rink is.
Yeah, I just like the rivalry. Their rink's not the nicest, that's for sure.
Okay, so we've established Sudbury doesn't have that great of a rink. What would be your next step up from that? What would be the other like bottom tier one for you guys?
I think going back to exhibition, probably Owen Sound. Just a smaller rink, smaller ice surface. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me it's either Owen Sound or Peterborough. Peterborough's like I don't mind like the rink. It's just the corners that are just like I don't get how this is a hockey rink. I don't know how that's allowed.
I feel like after we're done talking to the entire team 3 or 4 times, we should send these to Peterborough and be like, guys, fix this.
Yeah.
Like clearly you are the problem.
Yeah, really. Okay, so on the flip side, where's your favorite place to play so far?
For me, I like playing in Barrie. And probably Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say my favorite's probably Oshawa. It's my hometown. They have a nice rink. Always get quite a few fans out there, and I think we've only played there once, but it was just a really fun game to play in.
When it comes to games like Barrie and Oshawa and Hamilton, is there like an extra jump in your step because it's a place that you guys like playing?
Well, I mean, you always obviously have that in the back of your mind. It's like, oh, it's kind of exciting to play in the barn, but I mean, for me, obviously, it's the same mindset going into every game. But it's a little exciting.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the same mindset going into every game, but just for me, that was like my first game, like at my hometown OHL rink, and I've watched a bunch of Jen's game before, so especially just seeing my family and a bunch of people in the crowd there to watch me, I definitely had I think an extra jump in my game that day, but it's still the same mindset every game.
Guys, go ahead, Kortney.
No, go ahead, Tom.
Oh, I was going to say, I know our time is running short together, but I needed to ask. I've been staring at it the entire time. Nick, over your right shoulder, is that balloons?
Yeah, it is actually. I'm actually at Wakely's house right now, and it was his birthday a couple of days ago, so they kind of put a bunch of balloons up. But yeah,
they like to celebrate for days. That's cool.
I'm shocked he didn't try to get a cameo appearance out of this.
No, he's not here right now. He's in his room.
Yeah, we don't like him that much anyways.
He said it, not me. I like him.
No, that's a lie. Tom doesn't like him at all. Well, thanks, gentlemen. We really appreciate the pair of you guys coming on the podcast this week, and we look forward to having you on again and to see more goals and points put up for you guys, because as Tom mentioned, you guys have been on fire for the last month and a bit now.
Thank you guys for having me. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been awesome.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen. All right. It's part 2 of the Frontline podcast episode. God knows what. We have a lot of them. You can check them out on YouTube and many other places. Hey, it's Tom again. He's Kortney. We just had Nick, Sima, and Anthony Romani on, and they were fantastic. So let's keep the fun going here. Good news is we touched on it just a little bit, but Liam Armsby looks like he's going to get back into the action against the Sudbury Wolves Thursday night. And man, it's been 20 games. Yep. January 16th, the last time he played. I'm so happy he's back.
Yeah, me too. One of the games post game, I was down waiting for Ryan, and as you know, all the players kind of come out before the coach usually does, and he was walking around. I didn't know how serious his situation was. I thought, oh, he's just missing a couple games. He walked out with like a knee brace on. I was like, Liam, you okay, man? He's like, yeah. And this was like early February. He's like, yeah, I'm still out till like mid-March or whatever at the earliest. And I'm like, oh my, okay. And that was before things had really kind of gotten on a roll. So you're kind of like, oh, man, we need you back, like ASAP type of thing. And then not that you don't want him back in the lineup, but winning cures all type of thing, right? So but it's good to have him back. He's going to bring much added grit and much needed presence in that lineup, and it's going to be scary because he's probably going to slot back in on the second line where he was. So it's scary to think that your third line's probably going to have Wakely and Van Steensel on it, because I would imagine Van Steensel's the one being taken off.
Or they keep him there and move
Armsby. Yep. They could very
What a
well.
great problem to have. Where are we going to put our captain?
Yeah.
Honestly, what a great problem to have. But yeah, you heard Anthony and Nick talking about how much he brings to the team. So it's going to be fantastic to have him back in the lineup. He's like a bulldog on, I don't know, like a starving bulldog. I'll go after anything to make sure my team wins, which is
he's scary out there. Like, he is scary out there.
I've only ever seen him play live a couple times, and it was here in the Sioux, and I was like, I noticed you were on the ice today, sir. I heard it. I didn't even have to look. I heard it.
Yeah, you don't even need to know. Chances are, if he bowls you over and you're on the opposite team, you don't even need to look at the number that just hit you. You know it's number 11.
Oh, hands down. So I'm super glad he's going to be back against the Wolves this weekend. Battalion have won 12 of 14 after they went on a five-game losing streak. So, hey, we're not going to talk about anything like that anymore, because last time we did, it hit the fan. So we're done with that. But what we do have to talk about is more serious stuff, Kortney. There was another article on battalionhockey.com. It was also on the OHL. It brought to light some pretty awful things that happened in a game versus Sudbury. In fact, the last game against Sudbury. We aren't going to name any names because we know about as much as you do about the whole situation. The team didn't name any names either, for good reason. But excuse me, somebody on the Sudbury team said Russian slurs, I guess is the best way we can put it, towards members of the North Bay Battalion, which is an absolute shame. Now, I say they did. The problem is the accusations were found to be unsubstantiated, which means no repercussions were to happen. We don't know what was said. We don't know to whom it was said. And it's just a shame it even happened. Like, it's an actual shame. There's actually an investigation that had to go on for this. It's an absolute shame.
Yeah, and I think that's the first and foremost thing that I thought of when I saw it the next day come up. Rick Westhead on TSN was the first person I saw have it come out with. And if anyone who doesn't know Rick Westhead, he's done great investigative journalism all over the place. He's been basically the guy on top of the Chicago Blackhawks situation with Kyle Beach from the beginning.
Concussions in the NHL, he's been all over that. Like, he's got some solid articles, and if he says something, there's usually something to it.
And Gary Bettman, not a big fan. So
yes, not a big fan of his.
No, I quite really enjoy whenever Rick Westhead column comes out. I quite enjoy giving it a quick once over, or if it's really interesting, actually really read it a couple of times to really get all the sides kind of going. Because a lot of the stuff that he does write about, of course, even though it involves hockey, is outside of hockey. So it's not stuff that I personally am really well versed in. So I do have to give it a couple of reads.
But a lot of the legal aspect, which is another beast in itself. But getting back to it, yeah, it's a shame this kind of event had to happen.
Yes,
I hope it never happens again to any team, any league, anywhere, any human. Nobody deserves. Yeah, what's going on is very awful. It does not, however, need to be translated onto the ice.
No, and that's where what I mean is that my first initial reaction, and still my main reaction, is these are just kids trying to chase a dream, man. Like, regardless of skin color, where you're from, whatever, you're all out there, in general. Yeah, exactly. And obviously hockey, this can be applied to the real world situation too. Like, regardless of your skin color and where you're from, we're all on this planet, we're all here. Let's try and make the best of it. And if and what was said was truly what was said, unless you're someone like Ovechkin, who's come out in support in recent years of, the president of Russia, you don't know where these political sides lie. You don't really have, if it's true if anything was said, which of course the OHL was non-substantiated, which, because it becomes a lot of he said, but you don't know where many of these people don't agree with their country going to war at all. So again, it just comes down to these kids are chasing a dream, and it just so happened to bring them into North Bay. or wherever they may be in the OHL or wherever they are in the world. They're at the end of the day chasing a dream, and it's a shame. It really is.
Yeah, if you haven't read the article yet, battalionhockey.com is a wonderful breakdown of what went down. So the investigation, in a nutshell, they talked to the players, they talked to coaches, they talked to the referees who were calling that game, and anybody else who could reasonably hear, see, or witness what allegedly went on. And it was found to be like there's just not enough proof to do anything with. And it's tough when that happens, because you and I, you would know even better than I, Kortney. Camera situation, microphone situations in the OHL is not consistent across all arenas, no matter where you are. Some people have some and some people don't, or you could just miss it out of pure dumb luck. So, it's a shame there was even investigation. It's a shame it's even come this far where we have to talk about it type of deal. But I'm glad we're able to at least even talk about it on a podcast like this and even bring it to light that it shouldn't have happened in the first place, no matter who, what, where, how, and when.
And there's places as you kind of insinuated, there's places in the world where we wouldn't be able to say this type of stuff, right?
Yeah. Or even I'll give credit where credit is due. The Battalion rarely, if ever, if you want to know some background on the podcast, talk to us about our content. Like they're pretty fantastic in saying, guys, if there's a subject, let's talk about it. I think back when we interviewed the mayor about the new deal with the city.
Mm-hmm.
We just jump right into it. So I'm very happy. I'm not just drinking the Battalion Kool-Aid, which would probably be green. It's cool. They let us talk about these serious issues too, and have fun at the same time with their players. So, we say thank you to that for letting us, a little bit of journalistic freedom, if you will.
Yeah, that's a big thing is keeping the journalist integrity. You got to tell both sides of the story, but
I wish we knew all sides of this story. And this
yeah, that's the thing that's tough about it, is we weren't obviously on the ice, but from where I was in the broadcast booth when this happened, the game was already over. It was like 9-2 Battalion. So I was kind of, I don't want to say checked out, but I was kind of checked out, and I wasn't looking where it happened. So I missed the initial portion of it. And I just happened to look down and because our attention was drawn to this melee on the ice where, one player was going bananas on the other player. So it was just kind of like, oh, something happened here. And when you were looking at the players on the ice, you were like, okay, you could kind of figure out, but then we got it mixed up with, no, it's really this player that's mad because it can't be that situation. And then the next day, the Rick Westhead comes out and it was that situation that we didn't think it was going to be. So
it's the thing of broadcast booth. It's some people, like, sometimes you see some stuff, but I mean, when the play is done, usually your brain is like, okay, how much time is left in the game? What's the score? Grab a sip of water, breathe. And there's a lot of things else you're doing instead of, oh no, a fight has broken out or something has happened. You jump back in and do your best, but it's tough to see, and you're far up there too. So sometimes you just can't hear what's going on.
Well, and especially when it's a 9-2 game and it's like the last couple of minutes of play, right? You've gone through your blowout, notes.
You're half packed up and out the door.
Yeah. You're like, this game was over in the first period. But again, the OHL is non-substantiated. So we obviously had to talk about it a little bit, and I'm glad we did talk about it. But really there's not really much else that can be said other than it's a shame that it even had to be talked about.
Exactly. So on that note, hey, let's move on. Coming up this week, your Battalion have some fun games ahead of them too, against Sudbury. We got Friday night in Sudbury, and then Sunday afternoon in Sudbury, and then not again till March the 17th. It's going to be what is that, St. Patrick's Day?
I believe so.
Against Mississauga.
Yeah, what a better way to come out and celebrate St. Patty's Day than by watching the boys in green, am I right? So
I mean, they had to, you almost had to have scheduled a home game in the second half of the season so they could wear green at home. And if they didn't, it'd be an absolute crying shame.
Yes. That was so the second last Leafs game I went to, which is a while ago because Garrett Sparks was the goalie and it was in Ottawa. So that was fun with Garrett Sparks in net because they lost 6-2. Not that I'm bitter about that or anything. But they wore St. Pat's jersey, so that was cool seeing that in action. But yeah, I mean, it's St. Patty's Day. You're wearing green already, so you gotta come out and see the Battalion who are wearing green. That said about Sudbury, looking forward to that game because you got to think Sudbury's going to be out for blood after the 9-2 thrashing. Part of that was, poor kid Jonathan Lemaire. It was his first start since January 25th, and the kid was out on an island. I remember when he was getting pulled, and I was saying on the broadcast to Matt, I was like, "You honestly feel for the kid, like you do. Like you don't like to see it ever, but that kid is left out on an island because this is his first in-game action in almost in a month and a half, and it didn't work out for him, and then he came back for the second one and was really good in the second period, so it was like, okay, all right, like here we go. But yeah, you got to think that Sudbury's going to be out for blood at least a little bit, trying to get some revenge on that scoreboard. And then I won't be there for the Friday game. I was thinking about it. I was going to go stay at my buddy's place in Sudbury, but I forgot that I had a commitment to the Canada College TV program. They asked me to come and do a Lakers game for them. So I said, yeah, sure. Why not?
So funny story. The Kitchener Rangers asked me to work a game on Saturday here.
There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Make sure you name drop this podcast a couple of times.
100 times. Hundreds of times.
In case a diehard Kitchener Rangers fan is like, oh, I could listen to the Battalion podcast. Why not? So I'll be there for the Sunday game though. I plan on making the trip down Highway 17 to watch the Wolves and Battalion do battle.
Awesome stuff. So the times: 7:00 Friday, 2:00 on Sunday, and then not again till Thursday against the Mississauga Steelheads, which will be a game and a half.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at the standings right now, right? Like it's pretty tight. And you know what? We made fun of Mississauga earlier with their. I feel like that's just become part of it, is that we're just making fun of OHL teams all over the place.
Nobody's safe.
No, nobody is. But I will be making my first trip down to Mississauga to watch a Battalion game in Mississauga on the 27th, and I'm very excited.
Excellent. Have your pick at your seats. Enjoy. It's a very nice arena.
I've heard.
Nice arena. And it's a shame more Mississaugans, or whatever they're called, don't enjoy the team because they got a fantastic facility and they put on a pretty good show. It's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to get to. And geez, I actually didn't mind those road trips because it was such an easy event. It was easy to get into the rink. It was easy to set up. I never had issues at Mississauga. It was just empty.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to go. I'll be making the trip down with at least Derek Lindemann. He'll be coming because it's like they have like some golf game. It's like a golf themed game, and both Derek and I like hitting the links in the summer. So we're like, well, we gotta go. Like, so, and hopefully by that point, end of March, usually the crappy weather is out the window. So hopefully by then it'll be pretty dry driving. So yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting out and seeing another new OHL rink. I've seen Barrie this year, Ottawa, and now Mississauga will be the next one. And I'm slowly ticking them all off the check marks or off the boxes. But yeah, it should be good.
All right. On that note, this has been another fantastic episode of the Frontline podcast where we dealt with some serious stuff. And that's okay. Every now and then it's good to get serious. So I'm Tom Parisi, he's Kortney Kenny. Our producers are both named Ben. If you're watching, if you're listening to this podcast, Ben Sargent does a fantastic job, and Ben Long on our YouTube broadcast, which you can catch. Follow us on Twitter to find out when and where we can be broadcasting from. If you're watching this on your TV, our friends at Kojiko, you can watch the full episodes on YouTube, and you can listen to us where you get your podcasts: Spotify, Google Podcast, and Apple Music, and probably some other stuff. I don't understand where to get them, but we're there anyway. All right. This has been the Frontline Podcast. This is always fun, and we're going to do it again sometime.